First, you all know in outdoor recreation, there are different agencies, management organization, and also different level of organization might be there from the city level, state level, and at the federal level. And they all have their different recreational activities and they have different recreational sites. And for addressing legal issue, it is always suggested to provide as much information as possible to the people, to the recreationist. It might be by keeping warning videos or detailed information in website, notice board, walls, or even by providing them brochure. It is necessary to provide as much information as possible in case of providing warning or other cases. Of course, risks and accident are always possible in outdoor recreation, and the organization should work toward reducing risks and accident. For example, wilderness first responder should be there, and there should be availability of first aid. And if that first aid is not doing good for the affected person, there should be option to send them to or refer them to further area or hospitals. And always it is important to consider what are the allowed recreational activities in that area. People should be aware what is allowed and what is not allowed. Otherwise, simple accident in that area might bring more legal hurdle for the recreation management organization. You might have heard about zip line accident in Michigan that reached to the Supreme Court because it reaches to the Supreme Court to manage that accident. So that legal aspect might go in the higher level. So it need to be managed. So what recreational activities are allowed, that should be made clear in the beginning. Of course, there are recreational immunity law that need to be taken care of in any recreation site. This need to be considered. Of course, as I already mentioned, every place there should be allowed thing and the things that are not allowed. Do's or don't in outdoor recreation. It means before going in for outdoor recreation, we should know what are the things we should be allowed or we are allowed and what are the things that are not good to be done. So do's and don'ts are always important. Negligence is one of the important issue that might lead to legal aspect or legal issues because risks and danger is possible if we are doing negligence. Negligence shouldn't be done by a person as well as negligence shouldn't be done by any agencies. So negligence should be considered or negligence is important in recreation legal aspect. Yes, insurance in every cases in recreation, sports, insurance might be there. So it is necessary to have insurance and we should be knowing about or we should have idea of what are the insurance possible and What type of insurance should be taken before starting any activities? In insurance, there are different type of insurance available for sports and recreationists. Telling about the recreation immunity law, it is necessary because outdoor recreational area, they are available at risks, or the recreational agency might be keeping information that every recreational activities is at your own risks, either private or public. If that is kept, then that will help people to know more about it, and that should be kept in the website or in any pamphlets. Of course, if something goes in the legal hurdle or some legal aspect arise, of course there are some legal protection expenses for any harm, any legal issues. So protection expenses are always there. And other than that, waivers and disclaimers and protection are always important. And this thing we need to discuss more on outdoor recreation. Yes, legal requirement, we need to consider what are the legal requirements in different outdoor recreational activities. Fishing and boating laws and rules. What are the license and permits? Giving you example, in the case of Maine, there is Maine inland fishing law, and fishing is allowed in certain season, locations. There is bag limits. There are special fishing laws, invasive species laws, use of chemicals and plastics, migratory fish and protection, tribal water, freshwater fish, whether safe to eat or not, and how to harvest, that is important. And in the case of boating, instruction and rules, of course, life jacket, alerting people, speed limit, what is the distance and depth in the water, drink and drive case, checking the weather, engine cut off switch, watching wildlife, becoming familiar with the local area, wearing hat and sunscreen, that might be important if you are going for boating. In addition to that, hunting and trapping, also there are licenses. In the state of Maine, Maine hunting laws, there are rules, licenses, permits, regulated trapping, trapping laws and rules, safety courses, assessing private land and public land. All these things are important. Beside, you might be aware of vehicular sports accident. In it, in case of vehicular sports accident, of course, ATV and snowmobile recreational law is there. Trail maintenance is important. Grooming is important. There are ATV registration fees, and there are age requirement for that. There are laws and rules. What are the summaries of penalties for ATV use? So these are some of the aspects. In the case of ATV and snowmobile recreation law, you know, fees, age requirement, penalties, licenses, all those things are important. In addition to these laws, of course, there are laws related to protection of wildlife, how to conserve the water, how soil erosion should be reduced, and what are the ways applied to protect plants in case of if they suffer from the impact of outdoor recreation. All these legal rules and regulation are there so that outdoor recreational activities helps to manage, or outdoor recreational activities will not damage the soil, plants, animal, water, and in those cases, in some cases, site requirement are fulfilled, visitor management is done, and visitor use need to be managed